all-female crew for Blue Origin and the first all-female spaceflight since 1963. Now let's bring in transportation correspondent Gio Benitez. He's here with me now, contributor and astrophysicist Hakeem Oluseyi, Maria Villarreal in Texas at the launch site, and former NASA astronaut Susan Kilrain for more. Gio, another one of these space launches. What are they trying to do with this? What's the goal?
Well, you know what, James? What Blue Origin is saying about this is that it's all about empowering, uplifting, and inspiring the next generation. So they're hopeful that when people see people like them, right? Young girls see young other women just like them going up into space doing this together, they think that will be very inspiring. And it will be. It absolutely will be. And so that is what a lot of the crew members are talking about right now. Some of the crew members do have some short experiments. Remember, they're only going to be up in space in weightlessness some 3 to 4 minutes. So it's not very long, but they are going to have some experiments that they are planning to do while they're up there, and that's pretty interesting. No doubt about it. I think it's going to be really interesting to watch this because it's some of the people we all know and know about, right? Katy Perry, of course, she has that song with the firework, and she's quite literally launching.
And she sings about E.T. I think there's another. She's got another
one.
Yeah. Is Oprah being interviewed right now? I think Maria is there for us now in Van Horn. What's it like? What's it like in that area? I know it's a small town close to the launch site. How are people preparing for the launch?
You know, so James, we arrived in Van Horn, Texas yesterday. It was definitely a very quiet, sleepy town, but there's definitely a lot of buzz, a lot of energy just in the city alone. We drove this morning at about 2:30 in the morning to get to this location, which is about 30 to 45 minutes outside of Van Horn, Texas, in West Texas, right? So as we're looking behind me, you can actually see we're about 3 miles from the actual launch site. This is obviously for their safety and for ours as well. But really, there is just a lot of energy, a lot of buzz going on here on the ground. You know, for me to listen to people like Oprah talk about the women on this flight, 6 of them, right? All in their own right special, all very accomplished, but women in their own right here, you know, for a reason, for a cause. You know, in Gail's case, for example, it's about conquering her fear, knowing that obviously she has a big fear of flying. For Katy Perry, it's about setting an example for her daughter. For Lauren Sanchez, it's about proving those people wrong that at one point told her that she shouldn't be in the room. You know, each of these women have such special and unique stories. It's been overwhelming to listen to them, to watch them, and to be a part of this energy right here on the ground.
You say Gail King has a fear of flying?
She does.
That is wild. Yeah. Well, good luck to her. Hakeem, what can we expect to see here? How long will this crew be up in space, and what are they going to be doing when they're up there?
Well, this is a sounding rocket flight. So sounding rockets, they pretty much just go up and make a parabolic trajectory and they come back down to Earth. So you don't have very much time at all. But typically, sounding rockets without passengers are used to prove new technologies, the technologies that will later go on satellites. So there are a lot of things that can be done only from space. For example, if you want to look at the universe in light that cannot penetrate the Earth's atmosphere, you have to do it from space. So this is, in a way, a smaller version of what NASA does all the time, but they've included humans. And so what would I be doing if I was up there? I'd be looking out the window back at Earth, because that just has to be an amazing view. And I think, looking at other Blue Origin flights in the past, that's probably what's going to happen. They have little projects to do, but look, they're going to be looking out those big windows, looking at space, looking back at Earth, and just, probably trying to hold themselves together, because I imagine it's going to be an emotional and moving experience for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one person here knows what it's like actually being in space. Susan, you're the only one here who can tell us what it's like to be up there. What might they expect in the coming hours and minutes?
Wow, I suspect that they're nervous, they're excited, they might even be a little scared, especially in the case of Gail, who is afraid of flying. But they're just excited and looking forward to this journey, although it's short. I hope every one of them spends time just gazing out the window. Yes, playing in weightlessness is fun, but looking at the Earth. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance for them, most likely. So they should spend some time reflecting on how beautiful our planet is.
I think that's them moving away now from on the launch site.
Yeah,
we can
launch
take you
in 2 minutes.
Yeah, so we'll take you now to Blue Origin's launch site in Van Horn. Let's listen in. This is the 11th New Shepard crew, and it's preparing for liftoff.
Transition to onboard hydraulic pumps.
And this right here is the moment that they've been training for. 2 days, becoming a crew, becoming a team.
After you go through an experience like this, it's more than a team. It's almost like a family. You are so tight to go through something as intense
Executing
as
aft fin built-in test.
And everything looking really good, Ariane.
this. So far from mission control, everything is clean and green for this launch. T-minus 1 minute to go here.
Engine thrust vector control built-in test in work. Vehicle is now on internal power.
So in a moment here, we'll see those, what they call the bit checks, the built-in test checks. As you mentioned, Kristen, inside the capsule, you know, as you said, this is like a bridled beast. This thing wants to take off.
Switch to onboard helium.
Here we go. Good luck and Godspeed, ladies. We're cheering you on from
Let's
planet
launch
Earth.
this
Thrust
rocket.
termination system is armed. Whew. T-minus 22 seconds and counting.
Go to internal.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, command engine start, 2, 1, ignition. Liftoff. New Shepard has cleared the tower. Flight. 6,000 feet climbing. Begin throttle down for Q limiting. Engine response looks good. Max Q, maximum dynamic pressure. Mach 1, vehicle is supersonic. Engine back up to full throttle.
Supersonic, we have passed through max Q, maximum
pressures look
dynamic
good.
pressure. That's when the vehicle, the stresses between the atmosphere
Passing
and the
47,000
speed
feet
are
and
at the
climbing.
maximum. So to punch through that is so important. You see the BE3 engines is firing beautifully. You see the stream of steam behind it. Those ladies right now are
1 minute,
having
40
an
seconds into flight.
incredible view on their way to space. Passing through 80,000 feet, 1,300
Passing
miles per
85,000
hour. You're going to peak at about 2,300 miles an hour over Mach 3, 3 times the speed of sound. Shortly coming up, we'll have MECO, main engine cutoff. We will turn off the engine, but the two craft, the capsule and the booster, will continue their ascent to
Stand by,
space.
MECO. Stand by, MECO.
And our
And there you saw the main engine is turned off. We're now going to separate the capsule from the booster, and at that point, Kristen, that's when all 6 astronauts are going to start to feel the weightlessness, and shortly thereafter, we're going to let them unbuckle.
And that right there is the most critical milestone of this whole ascent. Oprah watching her best friend go to space.
And the two craft is separated. 328,000 feet, 100 kilometers. Welcome to space, ladies, or shall I say, astronauts.
Oh, the moon! You guys, I have to tell you, look at the moon. Look. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my goddess. That's our pink moon. I love you, Steph.
And just in case it wasn't clear, those are the astronauts. Those are their voices that you're hearing.
And there, they have hit apogee, the highest point in flight, well over 345,000 feet, well over the Kármán line.
Wow.
And at this moment, the astronauts have unstrapped from their seats. They are floating. They are weightless. They are experiencing zero G for the very first time in their lives. And Katy Perry did say that she was going to sing in space. I'm waiting for it.
Waiting for it.
1 minute warning. 1 minute warning.
So that is Capcom indicating a 1 minute warning for our astronauts to take in those last views before they get buckled back into their seats. At
Three.
Oh my God, guys, look at that. Wow, so peaceful of you.
And you hear
Dragon, report status. 1, 2, 3, copy. With report status.
and a great all astronauts
Well, that's extraordinary history made. The first time since 1963 that an all-female crew has spent just a little bit of time in space. Amazing to watch, wasn't it? 228,000 feet up. We heard the voice there, 100 kilometers up in the air. Welcome to space, ladies. We heard that voice, or should I say astronauts. We heard some of the voices on board there. I heard one lady say, "Look at the moon. Oh, my God." You could hear the...
I think that was Gail.
Oh,
that was Gail.
You could hear the excitement, right?
Yeah, you could hear that excitement, and we're still hearing them right now, so let's listen in.
The rocket down, it's going to relight its engine. We're going to also see a sonic boom. We're going to hear that shortly here.
And remember, this is something that had never been done before until just a few years ago. Truly the stuff of science fiction that you're about to watch in just seconds.
Drag
Here we
brakes.
go.
Engine relight. And booster touchdown, welcome home, New Shepard.
Picture perfect landing right there.
Picture perfect landing.
Right on target.
You see that dust kind of creates this dramatic cloud that reveals the beautiful rocket that has just taken these ladies up to space and back.
And I love the echo across the mountains. Is that what I was hearing there?
That's what you were hearing. You heard the sonic boom, then you heard the engine relight, and all of that reverberates in this big, beautiful valley in West Texas.
Stand by drogue. Stand by drogue.
All right, shortly here, we're waiting to see the drogue parachutes deploy from the crew capsule. Those are like the guide parachutes. There go the drogue parachutes.
Just free falling right there until those drogues came out.
And then next will be the main parachutes that get pulled out.
Hear that screaming inside the capsule?
And all 3 parachutes reefing, and they will slowly inflate, slowing the capsule to a nice, smooth 10, 15 miles an hour. They are cruising back home.
3 good parachutes.
And I tell you, Kristen, from having gone through all of the simulations, I have gone through all of the training. They put you in the capsule that simulates all of this, including the sounds, and when you hear the motors of the parachutes pop out, that is the best moment in flight.
Because I know Blue Origin does everything they can to make this as safe as possible, and y'all have an impeccable safety record, but it still has to feel really good when you know that you're coming back to Earth with those parachutes fully deployed.
And we can see the capsule just over our shoulder here, going to be landing north and east of the launch pad, coming down softly and beautifully. 500 feet.
And you will see a puff of smoke when it touches down, a puff of dust.
Actually, yes.
That's normal.
A puff of dust, last milliseconds, air cushion that will kick up the dust. It's a very soft landing despite the sporty perception. There it is.
Touchdown. Congratulations and welcome back to Earth. Do status check. Double shot.
Kristen, just some incredible images there. The capsule.
Copy. Welcome back. Feather.
Nice. Let's wait for just a moment here. Make sure they're doing health checks in.
Beautiful.
Yes, and as you heard it there, everybody seemed to be just as ecstatic to be back here, back on Earth. Everybody appears to be fine. Beautiful shot there of the capsule down in the desert. As we were just saying, it looks like a tough landing, but it is an air cushion in the last milliseconds that just makes it even softer. I will also note the parachutes landed very close to the capsule. That's just an indication.
Well, that was extraordinary. It does look like something out of science fiction, doesn't it? This rocket that goes up, this lander coming down. We heard the screams on board as they came down. I think if Gayle King didn't like flying before, I'm not sure that's killed her, but it sounds like they had a great time. We heard laughter, so it looks like it's gone well. Maria Villarreal, you were there in Van Horn watching all this go down. What's it like there right now?
You know, James, to experience this from the ground, it's absolutely amazing. We were able to see the rocket go up, and you can follow it pretty far up into the atmosphere, really. And then you kind of lose it, right, with your phones and with your eyes as well. But, you know, you heard a lot of the screaming from inside the actual capsule. There was a lot of screaming going on around here. I mean, the feeling and the energy that you are getting from the historic moment that this has become, 6 women going into space all together, all very accomplished women and doing this for different reasons. You know, at one point I looked over and there were several crew members, several people, myself included, that had tears in their eyes, because I think what this does, James, this moment, is that it shows the rest of us, right? Whether you're in front of the camera, behind the camera, whether you are a celebrity or a civil rights advocate, that this is attainable. That's what Blue Origin's mission is to tell people that not only are we going to show you what space is like, but as people who are just wanting to explore all parts of our Earth and beyond, this is attainable for, you know, the quote-unquote regular person.
Hopes in time, I guess, Maria. But at the moment, just for the very, very wealthy celebrities. We saw there, I think Oprah obviously standing by for Gayle King. Had the Kardashians, we're told, waiting, friends of Lauren Sanchez. So yes, at the moment, for the very, very wealthy. I do want to bring in Gio, who's here in the studio watching all this happen. Gio, your thoughts as you've seen a few of these launches now.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Well, we saw Michael Strahan launch in that same vehicle back in 2021. This was a picture-perfect launch and landing, no doubt about it. And that's what we were all hoping for, of course. They reached all the way up 65 miles above Earth. That is well past what's called the Kármán line. So that's the internationally recognized edge of space at 62 miles above the Earth. They went to 65, so that's 345,000 feet, right? So that is a huge distance to go. I'm really interested in hearing how this changes them, because in my role, I get to talk to so many astronauts all the time, and they always say that when they're up there and they look down at Earth, all of our differences sort of go away, and they see that we are one people, one planet, and it's really extraordinary. So I'm really curious to see what they think.
Well, we're waiting now for the women to emerge from the capsule. They've landed safely. We saw the dust come up into the air as the capsule landed down, but we're waiting for them still to emerge. Hakeem, you watched all this happen. What do you make of what you've seen today?
You know, I am just impressed with humans as a species. I think we've gotten to a point where we kind of take this for granted. You know, I was waiting with bated breath to see if they actually got into space safely and made it back to Earth safely, and they did. But that can't be taken for granted. But at the same time, we imagined this into existence, right? Humans didn't even conceive of traveling into space until maybe a century ago, and then we could imagine it, build it, and create it, but not only just, you know, not for just pure technology, but now let's inspire people with it. And I just love that, you know, I just love being a human being because we can do this. We're the only species on Earth, and yet we take others with us. We are inspiring the next generation to their aspirations. No matter how impossible it sounds, as humans, we can make it happen.
Yeah, too right. I mean, they did make the impossible happen today. It was extraordinary to watch. It did look like something out of a science fiction movie, watching that rocket go up. Susan, you're the only one here who's actually experienced what it's like to be in space. Tell us about that moment when you're up and the gravity dissipates and suddenly you're floating. Tell us a little bit about what that's like.
For the space shuttle pilot, and pretty much anybody on a space shuttle, you get very busy very quickly. So there's only a moment to say, oh, wait, we're here. It's not until later in the mission when you have some downtime that you're able to really grasp what happened and the view of Earth, and maybe have that overview effect that hopefully all of these ladies had in their 3 minutes of weightlessness and gazing down on the Earth. And they're going to bring that back to their millions of followers and fans, and hopefully inspire a whole generation of kids.
Yeah, every time we cover any kind of space story, anything like this, I think of that famous pale blue dot. That incredible image of Earth seen from thousands and thousands of miles away just really gives you that sense of perspective, doesn't it?
And this is all about inspiration and imagination, right? It really allows kids all across the world to dream when they see something like this happen. And you can criticize it all you want with whether it's rich people going up into space. Of course, we know that that's part of the discussion here, and an important part. But it's sort of like when you're talking about air travel. Air air travel did start as something for the very rich, the very wealthy. It eventually was something that we were able to produce to have normal, everyday people get up in a plane and go thousands of miles away. And that is the hope with space travel as well. And that is why eventually they want to build a base on the moon so that we can travel to the moon and beyond and go farther into the universe. And that's the whole point here with the private space industry.
Yeah, and so I think it's SpaceX which has won the contract to try to do that. How much of this, as we watch now the pictures, we'll come back to these pictures when we see the women emerge from this, or these now astronauts as they were called, up there from this capsule. But this race between Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and the other space companies, I mean, people watch this and it does feel like it's just kind of big boys and their toys fighting it out over space.
Yeah, I mean, look, it definitely is the new space race, right? And we're talking about this in terms of two very, very rich and wealthy people. Elon Musk has been able to do something that has never been done before, and certainly he's been able to take the private space industry much farther along than Jeff Bezos has at this point. But this is the beginning for Jeff Bezos, because eventually Bezos also wants to have a space station out there, and they plan to build one as well, Blue Origin. So they are both playing in this very important game, and it is an important game because, no doubt about it, the nation still has to be able to dominate in space. That is what they want to do, and that is because obviously you have so many satellites as well. That's the other part of it, is that SpaceX also has all of the Starlink satellites that are orbiting Earth right now, providing so much internet to underdeveloped nations.
Yeah, they call it the democratization of space, don't they? This is the argument for these missions. Susan, we'll go back to you because there's been a decades-old discourse about the benefits of all-female crew for a mission to Mars. The argument, I think, something like how it makes more sense biologically and psychologically for women to go. A number of scientific studies claim all-female crew would consume fewer resources and they'd occupy less space than an all-male crew. What are your thoughts on that? Is any of that true?
Oh, well, I think there's a lot of studies that show that women are better suited to space flight. We eat less. We typically are smaller. Our, bodies handle the weightlessness a little bit better, with the exception of decalcification of our bones. I don't think it's necessary to send just women to Mars or to the moon. I think it's time to get the gender out of it and send the best people for the job. And it would be nice to have a diverse crew, just mainly for the inspiration alone.
Well, we're still waiting for the women to emerge from the capsule. Mireya, you did a simulator this morning, I think. You experienced what it would be like in that capsule. Tell us what that was like.
James, we heard Gio talking about, this moment, or moments like this allows young children to dream, and dream big for that matter. To tell you the truth, it allowed a lot of adults this morning to dream and dream big. As we were able to go into a big warehouse that they have here set up for, the press conference that'll happen later on today, but also for the media as well. There was a capsule simulator that was inside that was just the exact thing that these 6 women were in this morning. We sat in there, me and a few crew members, and we sat in the chairs. The chairs were oddly very comfortable, to tell you the truth. You got to see and feel what was around you, and notice how close you were. And one note, I think somebody talked about it earlier, about looking out the window and being able to take a really good hard look at not just space, but the Earth below. Those windows are some of the biggest windows that we see in some of these, space rockets. And one of the things that also struck me, James, in learning more about Blue Origin and the New Shepard program, was knowing that, one, this is a completely autonomous, rocket, but what that means is obviously it goes up without a pilot, comes back down. But what's really unique is the booster, I thought. I mean, one of the things that Bezos is doing that separates his company from others is that he's trying to use as many of the parts that we see in front of you right now, reuse them. So obviously you're creating less waste and making a smaller footprint as you are trying to compete, in that race to space. So very unique as we watch, the moments right now coming up of this capsule that is going to open up with the 6 women hopefully coming out very soon. Very unique moment, very unique rocket in and of itself.
Yeah, we are watching these pictures. The crew there have assembled near the capsule. They're trying to get the door open, it looks like. Let's listen in.
You see those vans arriving. Those are friends and family.
And that's Carrie Ann looking out the window, in the window to the right there. Lauren Sanchez on the left. And you really get a sense for just how big these windows are. I mean, when you're inside this capsule, it's almost as though you're getting a full 360 panoramic view. One of the cool features of this capsule, the largest windows of any spacecraft.
So over a third of the surface area of this craft is windows. And that's on purpose. There were many meetings with our founder, Jeff Bezos, where our engineers brought him some windows. He said, nope, make them bigger. They come back, they said, nope, that's nice, but make them bigger. And what you get here, why is that so important? So many of our astronauts have said, when I got out of my seat, I looked outside my window, and I turned around and I looked at the other 5 windows, and my brain created a panoramic view, a panoramic photo of it, because so much of the capsule is windows, and it makes for just an incredible experience.
Sarah.
Good? Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Here goes Jeff Bezos to open the hatch.
She didn't really close it again. Come on out, guys. Let's see your babies.
Where are my babies?
They're over here. Go see them.
Where? Oh, we have to go
Right
there.
there.
Okay.
Katie!
Thank you. I just have to have a moment with the ground. Let me just appreciate the ground for just a second. Thank you, Jesus. Oh my God. That was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
I'm so proud. So proud of you.
Oh, there we go.
Amazing. I'm so proud of you.
Carrie Ann, we got your people over here.
Come right around the bushes here.
Come on. I can't
Their joy is just infectious, isn't it? Just seeing every single one of those women come out. Now, astronauts, of course, Gayle King was very funny, wasn't she? She said, just want to take a minute to touch the ground. I want to appreciate the ground.
Touch the ground and kiss it.
Right? And Katy Perry as well, coming down, kissing the ground. I mean, clearly, I don't think it's an over... You know, we're not overdoing it to say it's life-changing for these women. You could see how changing it is for them to come out. Emotional, clearly.
I mean, just looking at the image that's behind you, for example, James, that we have the curvature of the Earth, that's essentially what they saw. They saw the curvature of the Earth from there 65 miles up, and that's what's just so fascinating. I think this will change them. I think that there is a certain level of gratitude that you take away when you look down at our planet. And by the way, people want to say, oh, well, maybe I'll move to Mars, maybe I'll do that. And when you do this, I think a lot of people look down at Earth and say, this is the best planet there is.
Well, I mean, look, it was certainly extraordinary seeing them all come out. They were clearly just completely overjoyed. One of them was clearly moved at having what they've just experienced, once-in-a-lifetime experience for them. Hakeem Oluseyi, you were watching all this. Tell me what kind of moved you most, watching the reactions from these now astronauts coming out of the capsule.
Yeah, you know, I've heard the phrase about someone knowing how to make an entrance. Well, these women certainly know how to make an exit, right? I mean, I was filled with joy just seeing them step off and their reactions. And I tell you, you know, talk about feelings. There's more to the ride than the danger and the view, and that is the feelings that you experience. I've ridden the 0G airplane, and you forget 2 Gs going up and 0 Gs coming down. They got 3 Gs going up and 0 Gs. But then, you know, there's the great irony of returning to Earth, returning from weightlessness to having weight when you're here on Earth. But guess what? Earth itself is weightless. And, you know, when you shift your perspective, you can really see things that you've never seen before. And I think they see themselves differently. They see the Earth differently. And I think they probably see this space race differently now.
Shifting your perspective, a lesson for all of us, I guess. What a wonderful thing to have watched. And thank you so much, all of you, for sharing it with us. Gio Benitez, Hakeem Oluseyi, Maria Villarreal, and Susan Kilrain, thank you. We'll be right back with more of today's top stories. Stay with us.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers
in Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital. Destructive Cat 4 storm.
Here at Columbia University.
Here in downtown Port-au-Prince.